Yo, welcome back to another video. This time, we are going to be ranking Tera types in DOU. Should be an interesting video. There's been a lot of meta changes revolving Tera types in the last couple of weeks with like a couple of bans that happened. So this could actually very well age poorly, but recently the Deoxys ban just happened. That'll affect a few types. Flutter was banned like a month and a half ago, so that'll also have an effect. So yeah. Should be an interesting video. I'm joined by Keanu, Shister, and Swudge.
Hello.
Yeah. Keanu is muted, so this guy is
Classic.
not contributing. But yeah.
Hola.
So you guys have anything you want to start with, or should we just go in order here?
Fuck it, yeah, let's go in order.
Alright.
We can go in order.
Tera Stellar. This one, to me, is really interesting because I feel like it's very good on like two Pokemon and then like very bad on like everything else.
The only thing I ever see it used on is like POW, but I feel like it's probably like a little underexplored.
The thing about this is you want this on your breakers. You want this on like your choice Mons or POW, like your really fast, hard-hitting breakers that don't need a defensive Tera, which POW fits and Arcanine sometimes fits. And then that's kind of it for like hard breakers in the tier.
Because you can see POW pick up like 3 kills with like 3 different moves and like 3 turns. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Stellar sometimes. So
yeah, I definitely agree. I think on POW it's like excellent, but really like there's not anything else that I really like it on that much. I've tried it on like Enamorous a couple of times, but that felt bad.
Nobody's using Superior, so
yeah, Superior is very bad. What else would you even run it on? I don't know.
Well,
this is kind of hard.
As I said, Arcanine's actually pretty decent at using it when you have a choice banded set because you could use it. Yeah, Hisui and Arcanine.
Well,
you can use it to get an E-Speed. You can do it to get an E-Speed boost or boost up your Flare Blitz and Rock Slide to get some critical KOs. You want your breakers going Tera Stellar just so that they can boost all their coverage moves and KOs on some turns. I've seen it on Excadrill. I don't know if it was ESM that run it, but I've seen it on Excadrill, and I like it on it was ESM, I remember now. I do like it on Excadrill because it also helps Excadrill pick up some critical KOs like Instant. Times 1 point. It's a life orb bonus. It's just straight up a life orb bonus.
Oh, I thought it was better, low key.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know.
The big one that I noticed with Excadrill was that it actually picked up the KO on Instant with high horsepower 100% of the time after you do that.
That's pretty good.
Oh, that's interesting.
So that's why Excadrill is good with it.
I think this is going to be one of those tier lists where I think it gets a little easier to like rank things as we go on. So for now, I think I'm going to put it in like tier 4 because it's not really good on many.
It's not bad.
But
it's not bad. It's got its niche.
Yeah, it has a niche, yeah. Alright, Bug. I want to put this in UR, but it does have a couple interesting defensive synergies, but I think flying is better like 99% of the time.
Yeah, I could never see myself. I don't think I've ever been in the builder and thought, hey, I want to put
the only time I've ever used this is Raging Bolt.
Oh, that's crazy.
I can specifically think of why you would want this on Raging Bolt. Bug is the only ground resistance that isn't weak to ice, and that's huge for Raging Bolt and kind of for Archaludon as well.
Okay.
You can viably run this to not get screwed over by stuff like Blizzard Span that we've been seeing lately or POW.
Yep.
So any ground resistance Tera is good right now because Landorus is a terrorist. That's just the nature.
Oh, it's also not weak to grass. It's slightly better into Lando, huh?
Yeah.
Yes. It's
I'll put
also
it in
not
tier
weak
5 for
to
that.
poison.
I definitely think it has less of a niche than Tera Stellar, just because I don't think there's like a mon that really wants it as badly. But I could see this being. I think this is not the worst, so that's why I want to put it in tier 5 if that makes sense. Because some of these are like.
It could maybe go down later, but for now I think it's okay there.
All right, Dark.
You guys are wait. One last thing on.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
You guys remember when people were like, "Hey, let's put this on Heatran"?
Bro, that shit was hilarious.
I still do that.
Okay, you still do that?
Oh hell nah. That was funny.
That was pretty funny. People like
Because it
right
would,
at the beginning of Home Ed, people were like, "I'm putting this on my Heatran." It
yeah,
was
'cause it
all
would
over
beat all the
Twitter.
grass ones. It would beat all the grass ones.
Yeah.
All right, Dark. This one's. I think this is one that
This
has
is good.
suffered. It got better when Flutter got banned, and then it got
And
worse
then
when
it was like,
Deoxys got banned.
yeah, I put I won one of my OSDT games by putting like Terra Dark on my Rilla and then you turning on an expanding force to reset the terrain. It was
Let's
like
go.
that's how dire that meta was for me. I was like desperate for just any kind of psychic,
Yeah,
but yeah, I think it's definitely got a little bit worse.
I think I want to put it in like tier 3, if that makes sense, because
I
think
wouldn't put it lower than tier 3.
I think the Prankster immunity is nice, and Dark is just a decent type in general.
Three sounds pretty fair
It's
to
a
me.
it's a really good neutral type right now because nobody's using bug attacks. U-turn's not going to hit you for shit from anything that uses it.
Yeah.
Iron Hands is the only real fighting type around, and it's not that common. And what fairy type? Nobody else in this tier believes in Enamorous, and Diancie doesn't run fairy moves.
I've seen a
So
bit of an uptick in Chi-Yu usage as well, and that's okay into that. So
Yeah.
it's
it's
a
pretty
really
cool.
solid neutral. Like if you have a win con that you just want to have a really solid neutral type and don't want it to get fucked with by the disruption moves from Whims or Torn, this is really good for them.
Yeah. This is like a decent tier, I'd say, on like Sinistra, Crest, if you ever run that, Amoongus as well, and King Gambit. King Gambit can use it offensively. So yeah, I think tier 3 is fine. It could go up
Yeah, seems good.
depending on the metagame. I'd say this is like tier 3 in Flutter meta and probably like tier 2 or in Dio meta. But now I think tier 3 is probably right for it again. Alright, Dragon. This is, I would say,
Trolling.
one
This
of
is
my...
trolling.
Oh, stop that right now. This Pokemon, this is
No, I
my
think he's right.
favorite
I think
Tera.
it's troll.
There
What are
is
you
no
running instead
reason
of
to go
Dragon?
Terra Dragon when you can go Terra Fairy.
That
Like,
is
if you
so
want something
false
that
on
provides
so many
you with
levels.
What?
if you want something that just gives you neutrality, this doesn't do it because every team has a goddamn dragon type now.
Listen. I am so terrified of Raging Bolt. I do not like tearing in the dragon type right now.
The only
Raging Bolt
Pokemon
is
that I
fucked
see
up.
even runs this is Goldango, and it doesn't run it all the time, and it immediately
so
loses to
good
Bolt,
on
as Smudge
Goldango.
just said.
It's so good
It
on
I
loses
think
to
that's
Goldango,
true.
Like, I think this is a fraudulent Terra type because there's nothing else that even runs it.
That is cap as
I
fuck.
think two is like fairer, but I don't love it. But I think it's probably better than the other stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it in tier 1 because I do kind of agree with it, but the elemental broad coverage for the elemental types is so fundamentally strong.
I just think since like Water Pond is so good,
yeah,
then at least it's pretty good, at least for that. Because I think
this type
like
is actually
tier 1 or tier 0 right now. So
underused. I think you could use this on like Lando, in some instances.
I would rather use Terra Grass, to be honest.
I don't like Terra Grass as much. We'll get into that later. I think they're both tier 2, but I would prefer Terra Dragon on several mons. Notably, DNC benefits a lot from Terra Dragon. Especially without Flutter, because Terra Dragon DNC is like very, very difficult to kill. Based on like the threats you actually have in the metagame.
I don't like making myself weak to Draco Meteor. When there's 3 mons in the metagame that click it.
I'm not really...
I think that's fair, but you like if you're selecting the Terra Dragon, then you should build around like being able to use it properly. So
it's the fact that all the big dragons lose to Lando Eye. That really makes me think Terra Dragon has a niche because you can beat all those dragons and like Terra Dragon's
Kyurem
not like...
does not.
Okay, Kyurem is fake as hell.
No, it's not.
2 times.
No, it's not.
I don't know.
No,
I've loaded up that Snow Team twice in a row, and I've won both my games. So
that mon carries Snow, and it can carry other teams.
I'm capping, but the mons that click Terra Dragon beat Kyurem in general.
Yeah,
without Terraning. Goldango. What's the other one I was talking about? Dancy.
The other one you said was Landorus. which is
Okay,
like
well, lanterns.
I don't know, bro.
That's speculation. You'd see more of this if I was like playing tournaments at the moment, but I think Dragon is solid. I wouldn't put it in tier 1. I'm a fan of this personally, so I'm a little biased, but I think it's better than the other 3.
I
Like,
would agree with that.
I can't put it on the
Well,
same
It
level as
was better
Dragon.
for now.
Well, I will say that I heavily dissent and think it's tier 4.
Tier 4 is wild. Tier 4 is
I
wild.
think
Tier 4
I
is
think
great.
I think making yourself weak to Chien Pao and all the other ices and other dragons is that bad.
I don't know. I think it's just a very consistent Tera in terms of like it checks the elemental types are really
It
something
can
that I
bail you out of a
prioritize
tough
a lot.
spot, like
Yeah.
a lot more than some of the other types, I think.
There's no other type that covers like that spectrum that Dragon does, which is what makes me think it is better than the others, right? Because all the other elemental types I think are also quite solid for the most part, but they all are weak to one of the others. And for fire, that's not as big of an issue at the moment because there's not really water types except for one. But I think Dragon's like coverage into like fire, water, grass is so good compared to every other type that that's why I want to put it here, basically. Alright, moving
with
on. Rick. I'm not gonna lie,
No,
I have not seen this
bad.
on like anything.
There's no reason
Like-
to run it. This is UR. There's no single Pokemon in the game that will ever run this type. Not even like it's
Yeah.
you don't. There's no benefit to it offensively and defensively. It's like okay, I resist flying. I could go to steel for that. With 20 billion other resistances.
In tier 2 Lando universe, I don't think so, buddy.
Yeah, I
Like,
actually think this is really bad. I've literally never seen this type, except maybe like once on Bull, which was
I've
mid.
thought about Tera Electric Bolt, and I was like,
It's kind of mid in my opinion. It's not.
It's
I
not
think that's the
good,
best
yeah.
mon for Terra Electric, but like, I don't think it's good. I've also
like, I
seen
like
it
the
in the
big,
past
I like the
on
big
like
Thunderbolts, but that's about it.
it's kind of funny on like Latios or something, but that's like not that solid, and I just don't think this has enough of a niche. Like when you look at the Terra types that we put on here that are going to be higher up, Dragon I put up for reasons I specified, like the Fire, Water, Grass matchup. Dark immunity to Prankster. Stellar is just the all-around offense. Electric doesn't give you an immunity to anything except paralysis, and really that's not like that impactful in this metagame. So it doesn't give you there's an opportunity cost here for this one. Not a bad defensive type to have as your base, but it's not good as your Terra type.
The only time I like actively remember somebody tearing into Electric and then was like really, really bad was like actually early in OSDT. And there was like a Terra Electric Bronzong. I think I was casting the game. I was like,
Oh my
holy
God.
shit, there's a Terra Electric Bronzong on the field.
He might have
Yeah.
I
cooked
don't-
with
I
that
don't-
one.
I don't think it won the game, so
Rip. Alright, Fairy.
Generalist Terra type.
like no
very
disrespect.
neutral.
Like to be clear, it's just what I remember with
Yeah.
Terra Electric.
What do you guys think
Yeah,
about
Terra
Fairy?
is very good.
I think it's like
this
tier
is not
2.
tier 1. This is not tier 1.
I think it's tier
There
2.
are certain resistances that
If
are
it's not tier 1, what is it?
I think top of tier 2, in my opinion. Hold on. Because this is very solid on like the dragons, but to be honest, the only mons I really like this on at the moment are like Bridge, dragon type, Chi-Yu on certain sets, but only on certain sets. Paragraph kind of, but I would rather have probably something else.
indeed.
Gouging Fire, Bolt. Good on normal Psychic and Dragons, basically. I think it's quite solid, but I also dislike the way it weakens your Goldango matchup. One of my meta takes at the moment is that Goldango is like something you really need to respect in the builder. And
I got
so-
stuffed by it last week. Like it was tough.
I got
Yeah,
stuff
Goldango
by it
is rough.
today.
Goldango is a very, very good Pokemon, and it's what prevents me from putting Fairy in tier 1. Obviously, the matchup into the dragons is so good because you can make your dragon beat the other dragon like every time. But the Goldango matchup is preventing me from putting it higher than tier 2, if that makes sense.
It's almost like a little too tantalizing to click sometimes, even when you shouldn't click it, and it's almost like dangerous in that
That's
regard.
actually
if you have
that's
that on your
facts.
team.
That's facts.
It's like I look at it, I was like, I want to press that so bad because of the dragon mirror, and then you
Fairy is
can't.
such a satisfying type. Not gonna lie, it's like I don't know. It's just because it's one of the best types in the game as well. All right, fire. This one's interesting. I think without Flutter, this is something that's like been weakened a bit. It was very good because it was one of the types that like resisted Flutter, but it's a weak to Lando I type, and there's not really anything that I can think of that really likes to click this. I've seen Gambit click it a few times. Kind of the only instance I can think of at the moment.
The thing that I use this for is
Is
considering,
Gorilla.
okay, I look at Tera Fire and I'm like, okay, I have a Goldango resist that has 2 elemental resists on top of it. That's solid enough. Like,
Yeah,
I'll
fair.
use this over Terra Dragon if I'm worried about Goldango into some mons. Like, it's really, really fucking good on Como.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And
Yeah.
the burn immunity is also just like that.
don't-
That's a selling point in its own.
There were times in SV that I would have put this in tier 2 or even tier 1 based on the metagame, but I think right now it's tier 3. This is a fundamentally solid type, but I think the metagame is not like its favorite, even though it's still pretty decent in the metagame. I just think like a lot of the times I'd rather have Dragon. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
I don't have a ton to add there. I think that's pretty accurate. It's just good on like the mons that already have it as stab, which I think goes for a lot of types. So there's not
Yeah.
really a lot to add there. I think.
I agree. All right, flying. This is one of my favorite types. What do you guys think about this one? I think this is good on like not that many mods. Like almost think lean to like tier 4.
It feels like bait.
Yeah.
So many
It-
people are
it
spamming
ki-
Bolt, and then like you
And
use it to
Chin
get away
Pao.
from Lando,
Yeah.
and
Bolt
then
and
you
Chin
you
Pao.
run into a Chen Pao and a Bolt problem. So it's like, what are you really using this for?
I could see it on like Goldango or something, but
It's like you only really want to click this if you win immediately. I think.
yeah.
I don't.
I think it's better
It's
than
not-
Bug because it just does what Bug does for the most part, but better. But I also think it's worse than these two. And probably
Yeah.
worse. I think it's about equal to Stellar actually. Only good in a few mods.
Yeah.
Alright.
This is tier 1.
Tier 1?
This is tier 1. You can slap this on anything. It's a fantastic neutral type. It goobs the shit out of E-Speed and Fake Out. You can run this on anything and get it and cheese out a good situation for yourself.
Honestly, I kind of agree. I'm not sure like if it's as consistent as some of the others, but like I think it's more splashable than anything else, to be
I put
honest.
this type on way too many things to my own detriment.
Fair.
Like, it's not going to offer you any huge resistances, but it's Fake Out immunity and just a great neutral type into just
This is
about
the-
anything
This
aside
is
from
the
the
only
darks.
Tera type that makes me want to quit playing Pokemon Scarlet and Violet doubles OU. Because this thing is the fake out mind games are just very stupid. What makes fake out so important for doubles is like the fact how it's consistent it is, you know? And the fact that Pokemon could just turn into a ghost type really pisses me off. Like Cloak was like bad enough, but they had to add this too. So I'm kind of inclined to agree. I'm kind of wondering if maybe I should bump one of the tier 2s up, but we'll see where we go. I think this is
Yeah,
fair.
we'll see.
I think this is fair.
Yeah.
I almost
that's
feel
fine.
like bumping Bug up because of the points that we mentioned about it not being weak to ice and electric as a
Meh.
ground resist.
Meh.
It might be slept on.
Meh. Alright. Let's see. Grass.
Get your
I think-
slander out of the way since you have some to say.
This is like another type that was very, very good in the past. But however, Amogus is not as good in my opinion. Or it's not well, I think it's underused
Among Us,
compared to how
Among
good
Us
it
is
should
shit.
be. But it's not seen very much, which means this type isn't as valuable. And it kind of just does what Dragon does, but slightly worse. Because it has so many weaknesses, and Grass fundamentally isn't that good a type. It's just good at resisting ground. which, albeit, it's probably the best type at resisting ground. But I also don't think it's that helpful because you lose to Lando anyway when it's like clicks you with Sludge Bomb. So I don't know. I think this is tier 3 for me, better than flying, but I also think this
I need to-
is significantly worse
I
than
need to
Dragon.
say that
Just
I
barely
need
tier
to
3.
say that I need to say that this is tier 2 just because this type will flip a game on one turn if you need it to. Just the way it polarizes type matchups on so many mons because of the ground resist and the 2 elementals on it. Amoongus aside, because I don't really think that's that relevant for it right now, but this thing is so good at flipping type
I
charts.
don't know. I think Dragon's better on like most ones. And
It's
it could-
nice to resist Ogerpon, like,
but like, but there's no other water type, so water is a fake resist, and then like,
yeah.
it just the grass type is not good enough. Absence of strong Amoongus for me to put this higher, basically.
We could reasonably see a moon get better now.
Yeah, I agree.
Looking forward, this could get better, but this is for right now. So
I'd say maybe better than fire. I mean, I see your
Definitely better
argument,
than
Shister,
fire.
but like,
I'm on the fence, like
And
top
on
of
most
tier
of the
3
mods.
probably.
I'm putting Dragon when I'm considering grass, if that makes sense, on most mods. Let's see. Okay, ground. I think this one's kind of bad, to be honest. Is there any use case for this shit?
There's a couple of mons that get some interesting use cases out of it, like Volcanian's actually a decent user of it because of water absorb. It
That's
boosts the earth power so
fair.
that it can do a good bit of damage to Archaludon. There's a couple of mons that can run it, but it's not like a premier type.
I think
It's kind
5,
of
to be
just to
honest.
boost earth powers.
Yeah.
It's really just to boost earth powers and give a decently neutral type on some of the mons that'll have it.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it has a lot of the weaknesses we were talking about with the other ones. Ice weakness. And this has more of a niche than electric, but I don't think it has that much of a niche, so I think 5 probably fits it pretty well.
Yeah, that's okay. Like if you're really scared of Bolt, maybe it's okay. But
Yeah. This thing has
maybe just
really been that good of a
Yes.
Tera type, to be honest. Alright. Ice.
Tier 4.
This is...
Tier
I
4.
don't,
It-
I don't
it-
think I can justify that.
Maybe not tier 4, but it is a very, very potent offensive Terra boost.
I think that's
For
just like
an entire archetype
indicative
right now.
of the mons that are actually like using it instead of the type itself.
I can't put it in UR, because Articuno and Kyurem are pretty good at abusing it, I would say.
And
But it's
at
decent
one point,
offensively,
Bundle was good at
but I
it.
also think Ice is just very, very bad as a type. Even with the snow boost, that helps. So if it didn't have the snow boost, this type would go down. But the fact that you obviously have that so it's better on snow. So this is a type you use on
Put a
snow
Pine Bug.
on 2 Pokemon.
I would put it Pine Bug.
Okay, that's fair. But it's not
Yeah,
bad.
that's fair.
But it's
Bug,
not.
The
Bug
ice
has
teams
a
are
use.
good because it's like well constructed rather than like
Yeah,
being because ice is good in and of itself.
yeah, I agree with that strongly. All right, normal. I don't know. This is good on Ursaluna Blood Moon, and it's quite solid on that mod. However, I don't really know of anything else that I really like it too much on at the moment, because Ask F is really not seeing much at all. And this type that doesn't
This
provide
is
you
an
any
offensive
extra benefit.
Well, Dragonite and Arcanine are famous abusers of it.
I forgot about extreme speed.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
that's
put
the
this
only
in
other
tier
use
4,
here.
top of tier 4.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's very good at that. And it's actually it's like Ghost. I don't like it. I don't like how easy it is to boost speed in this game. But in this metagame, it doesn't really pose much of an issue. But that is enough to get it to tier 4. I think it's better than Stellar. It's used on a couple months. And it's also good on...
It's also
Well, if Spam falls off even more, then it could rise.
Yeah.
To Terra
So-
Normal's credit, it's really nice to have a type that just you don't have to worry about any weaknesses on the Mon pretty much, except for fake fighting type right now. So if you really just had a Mon that needed to just eat hits and not care about weaknesses or resistances, like maybe Arcaladon, then maybe this
Yeah.
could get some leverage defensively too.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Although for
Alright.
that purpose, Ghost might just be better.
Poison. How the mighty have fallen.
Oh, this one's tough.
This
Because
is one of my
Depression.
favorite.
a week
little
ago, I
types.
would have told you it was terrible, but now I tell you maybe it's okay.
This is Depression type.
my personal favorite Tera type. However, with Side Spam being a return, like this type was very strong in like the Flutter meta before DLC 2 because Side Spam didn't exist except for bad Armor Rouge because nothing learned Expanding Force. But even with Deoxys gone, I still anticipate Side Spam to be like solid, and so you're weak to
Yeah.
Lando and you're weak to Side Spam, and that's
Yeah.
like pretty bad.
Lando
However,
was
I think
so
it's
good back
better
then
than
too, so maybe people just weren't like thinking about it as much.
yeah. Well, it's
Who
like
knows?
a lot of the monsters can include Terra Poison. Like Lando T isn't as much of an issue as I think Lando I is,
Yeah.
because Earth Power hits a lot harder than
I
Stomping
don't
Tantrum.
know if I can I don't know if we should put this in tier 3 because like you have to account for that most of the time the mons that you're tearing are in the game just happen to be the ones that are trying to tear out of a ground weakness or something similar.
No, it's good on it's good. It's very good on Lando. I think
Yeah, but is that
it's so
enough to put
excellent.
it in
Yes,
tier
it is.
3?
Lando is the best mod of the tier at the moment, in my opinion. Uh, and it's far and away the best Terra on Lando. I wouldn't ever really consider anything else for the most part, except for like memeing around with like Terra Dragon or something. I also
Fair
think
Ghost.
it's solid into uh like Rillaboom stuff. Um, I think I'll put it at the bottom of tier 3. It's better than normal, and it's more applicable. I think this is a type that's historically been underused. It's very good on Latias as well. Latias, a Pokemon I expect to rise a fair amount. I think it's pretty
Yeah,
underutilized.
I'll grant it that any levitate mon can abuse this type very well.
I also think it's like there's a few other mods I think it's decent on. The ones that aren't really as worried about Lando. But I think Lando itself abuses it especially well. And I think it's better than normal, to be honest, because it's on a better mon, and I see it a little bit more. But also, this thing, without Flutter in the tier, it doesn't have quite as much of a use case. So I'll put it here. All right, Psychic. This thing is,
I'll put this is in the same boat as Ice.
yeah, it's an offensive Terra only. You don't really
Pretty
get
much the
anything else out
exact
of
same
this.
boat.
Yeah,
When Deoxys was terrorizing everything, it was kind of funny being able to wall Deoxys specifically, but now that's gone. Oh,
And you were barely even walling it then. It was still 2-hit KOing you a lot of the time. So
I
yeah,
used it on Gambit, which was fun.
that's actually valid. Yeah, I think this is purely an offensive type, just like Ice. It's solid. You can use it on size spam mons, but I don't know. It's not.
like who's
It's
a
not
good
excellent.
user of this type?
You could probably get away with it on like Crown
This-
or maybe Dio Normal if we
Yes.
ever see that.
Yeah, somebody's got to load it up, like surely.
Yeah,
Crown and Dio Normal will use it just fine.
I think size spam's better than the
That's
snow
about it.
spam, so I'm gonna put it like slightly above Ice, but they really are in the same boat. All right, Rock. This type is.
Awful.
I can't really justify this one very much because
I,
you have the,
I can
the ground
justify
weakness
this
dice.
more than Electric.
Can you?
That's not
Rock
much
is
of a
so
bar.
bad. Rock is so bad defensively.
It's terrible, but it's a strangely good Terra on grass types.
To make you
For
weak
f-
to opposing grass types like Rilla?
For flipping your weaknesses in
It's
a
just
turn.
bad.
You
It's
get a
bad
fire
into-
resist, flying resist.
You're bad
But
into every top
an
mod. At
opposing
least
resist.
Electric is like
Yes.
neutral across the board. So I can't put rock above electric. I mean, they're both bad, so it's just semantics at this point. But like,
I mean, I'll say this. I have actually used Terra Rock with a grass type on a sand team. I have never once used electric.
I've ever used Terra Rock.
Damn, he's leaking his whole builder.
This man ain't play shit and he build 20 teams a day. He don't care if he leak.
Team leaking is actually good because it forces you to build more teams. Real.
True.
Yeah, I've never used this shit. I mean, I can't. I think I've used electric like in the ancient past. Actually, no. I did use rock one time, like a year ago. Terra
You got
Rock
me on
GU.
Terra Blast.
Terra Rock GU on sand. It was the worst decision I've ever made.
Weren't
Genuinely
you
the
the one
worst.
who tried to get a bunch of us on Terra Blast Rock fucking Rillaboom?
No, there's somebody that uses that in Natdex. Astronation Shoe uses Terra Rock, Terra
He
Blast.
got that from DOU, but I can't remember
He
who
did?
actually used it in DOU.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't me though. I've never used this shit.
I mean,
Alright.
I'll give it props for that.
Okay, fair enough.
That's just me.
I don't know. These two are both bad. I wouldn't really care too much if you reverse the order, but I think I could see myself using electric more than I could see myself using rock.
Yeah, same for me. I don't know, just like with Rilla, Water Pond, and like Lando, it's a no from me.
Yeah. Alright, Steel. This is the strangest Terra type in the game because it's one of the best types in the game, but I also think it's not that great as a Terra type because your weaknesses to fire and ground are so common, and they have been throughout the gen. I don't think it's like a fundamentally bad type.
I think Steel is often at its best when it's mixed with another type, and you just don't have that here.
Yeah. Bro, Steel is literally the alloy type when you think about it.
Steel's
Yeah.
big problem is that it terras into weaknesses that you're usually trying to like terra out of
Right.
for a lot of mons. That's its big core problem.
I agree
There are
with
a
that.
couple things that really get some mileage out of it, like Terra Steel Torn is decent.
Regidrago's pretty good. Golden Go gets a lot of usage out of it.
I think it's
What the
bottom of
choice said.
4. I think it's bottom or maybe middle of 4.
I also like it on Goltres a lot. Like I like this on flying types a lot.
Goltres is poison only, and never let anyone tell you differently.
Okay, buddy. The last time you tossed me a Goltrace team, it was Terra Dragon. What are you talking about?
Oh, my bad. Okay, well, Terra Dragon is better Terra Poison at this point. Trust.
True.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you guys said about this. I think, yeah, it's good on a couple mods, but it's better than flying. I think it's really good on Torn. I actually really like it on Torn, but on like most other things, I don't like it. So I think 4 fits. All right, Water. I know you have something to say about this one.
Oh man, this type, I just, I just think it's fraudulent. Like it's so.
I think it's fraudulent too.
Fraudulent.
I've been looking at it at the back of the list and formulating in my mind. This is fraudulent. There's so many grass types and multiple electric hits in the tier.
There's Rilla. There's like Water Pond. Who else?
There's Sinistra.
I mean, it's just those
there's
guys.
Iron Hands. There's Arcaladon.
It sucks.
There's
It just sucks.
Lilligans.
What are you doing with it? You're not doing anything with it. Don't use this type. It's bottom. It's UR for me. It's super UR, except on like Lando, maybe. Maybe you would give it Dragon instead. I guess I don't know.
The thing here is, Water is supposed to be a neutral type, but Fairy does that better because the resistances aren't nearly as bad.
Alright guys, I have a hypothetical. If you could Terra Ogrepon Wellspring into any type, what would you Terra it into? I genuinely don't know what I would do.
I'm gonna be perfectly honest. Ogrepon Wellspring is unique in that it turns into its own type for the offensive and defensive boost, but it also like fixes its own weaknesses by doing that. It's a fucking
Yeah.
anomaly in that.
Yeah, I wouldn't count Ogre-Pond
No, I'm
Water.
not. It just popped into my head. Like, if
No,
I could,
I mean,
if I could
I thought
Terra.
about that.
No, because like,
You know what?
I was gonna
If we're
say,
putting Terra Poison, if we're putting Terra Poison in tier 3 just because of Lando, you can put this in tier 3 just because of Ogre-Pond.
I guess, man. I
Because
just
like
hate
No.
that
this.
is the strongest Terra in the game.
I think poison's better generally because poison
It's just
matches
like-
well into more mods. Grass has too many common weaknesses. However, what I was gonna say is like, oh, you could justify based on Ogre-Pond, but I was like, Ogre-Pond's Terra is forced. So what would I do if I could run any Terra on it and still get the same benefit? I don't know. I'd probably like, I don't
Or
know.
Dragon.
Dragon?
probably Dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Ghost.
Just
Ghost would
people
be kinda
really
funny.
like. I think there's a lot of people that still view water as like a general use Terra type, and I don't think that's accurate at all.
I actually think this is a good video to like break down that narrative. I totally agree with you guys. So funny story. When we were like World Cup, like the one West one, and so in the final tiebreaker, we like heavily polished the team I was gonna bring,
Oh.
and I posted Terra Dragon Arcanine, and ESM pinged me, and he's like, "Bro, what are you doing? Water is just better." And I just think it's very, very funny to me that over the last year, in my opinion, I've seen that completely reverse. I think Dragon is better like 99% of the time. However, it is kind of nice into a few things, but the weakness to Grass is just so bad. With both, because Rilla and Wellspring are so good.
And then Bolt, just for me, was at the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah,
For
Bolt as well.
water.
I do think it's good on Wellspring, but that can only save it so much. So it's gonna go below Terra Stellar for PAL.
I think obviously, like I was playing it up, but I think for middle four is fine. It's like obviously not as bad as electric or rock, but
Yeah, but the
it
point
just-
stands.
it's not
much
tier
worse
one.
than
Like
it's much
people were
worse than
acting like it was.
fire. It's much worse than the other two elemental types, and it's worse than the top three here. All right, Terra Fighting. I don't even know about this one. I've never really seen this. Is this
Okay,
UR?
so I can.
I'm
I
trying to think about
wouldn't
this
call it
more.
UR. I would put it underground. The thing is, I have seen this used on Iron Crown for like Terra Blast and a few other Pokemon, just in case they want to boost their fighting type moves, such as Chin Pao and maybe close Arcanine Hisui, because it also gives it a rock resist. I have actually seen this work. This for me falls in the same category as some mons might use it to boost a fighting coverage and get like a decent unexpected type matchup with it, like Terra Ground does. But I think it's even more niche because fighting is just a worse type than ground.
Yeah, I agree.
I still wouldn't put it UR.
I think it's like I could see some use case for this for the Terra Blast stuff. You can also hit Instant with that, so it's
Yeah.
a little bit valid. But I do think
It's
it's
okay.
pretty bad. All right. Any final thoughts here? I think this looks pretty
I
solid
think we-
overall.
I think we should bump Dark up to tier 2.
Okay, valid.
I think looking at this whole list, I think it's just
I
as
think that's
neutral as
fair.
those other two types, and it has its very unique, powerful utility in the metagame right now.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Yeah, especially without Flutter. This is a type that is pretty unpunished generally. So, yeah, I think that's pretty solid. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you found this helpful. Yeah, see you next time.